Welcome, everyone, to Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maisha, and we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. I hope you guys had a fabulous week. I know I did. My family and I were in the process of moving, so it's been busy for us, but really exciting. It's all about perspective, which makes things relative and joyous in our lives, the way you look at things, right? The weather here in Chicago is beautiful. Spring is officially here, so I am really thrilled. Tonight's kind of cool, but everything else is pretty good. This week, I had a special guest, Travis Sanders, scheduled to talk to us about psychic realm. However, due to some mitigating circumstances, he was unable to join us today. But he will join us in a couple of weeks. I hope he feels better, and so he'll be able to join us. Last week, we finished our 3-part series about manifesting our desires. And I went into real detail about the fundamental concepts necessary to make your desires a reality. I hope you enjoyed that series. If you missed any parts of it, you can always go onto the website at BBM Global Network and click on the past shows and listen to them. If you gain a lot of information, many of my clients do listen to the show, which is great. It's like having a group session with all of you, the listeners. But one thing that came across to me during one of my sessions with a client this week is that having the knowledge of manifesting concepts and tools doesn't mean that you own the process. So brain knowledge, back to, does not equal to heart knowledge, feeling it, owning it, and knowing it in your heart. So many of you have heard and were aware of the concept that I shared in the past 3 weeks, but probably never heard it in the combined way that I shared with you during this series. But still, whether you heard the concept before, you probably still don't own it. For example, concept 1 in manifesting your desire. Do you remember it? Okay. Well, let me refresh your memory. The first concept is God is in all, and all is in God, meaning you are connected to God's source energy. God's source energy is in you, and you are in God's source energy. I'm sure you've heard that before, right? Whether you heard it in church or you read it in a book, you probably had the knowledge, the brain knowledge of this concept, but didn't own it. Didn't really feel it and own it in your heart. And not owning it affects the way you create in life. It creates a magnitude of things. This is the way you look at things by not really understanding and owning this concept. And you may be arguing with me saying, oh, I know that God is in all and I'm connected to God. And I'm not questioning if you know it. I'm questioning if you own it. If I was standing with you right now and I asked you one simple question, it would reveal if you really own this concept or just had knowledge of this concept. That simple question is, who are you? Most of you would respond by telling me your name, your occupation, or even list the many different societal roles and identities that you play. These are all societal identities, are agreed beliefs. Societal roles that are passed to us as children form from what you heard from other people about you. Other people like your family, schoolmates, teachers, the textbooks, rules, religious institutions, your spiritual practices. All of these beliefs of others are woven together to form your perception, your lenses of how you view yourself, your relationship with others, your reality, your relationship with money, the relationship that you have with the cosmos, and even your relationship with God. These roles and beliefs that you agree to play and mask yourself with is an illusion. It's not who you really are. Every decision you make is based on this illusion. From the neighborhood you lived in, to the mate that you choose, your self-esteem, even to the way you dress. It's all based on these woven concepts and beliefs from other people. You've been conditioned not to know your true identity. The illusion of who you are is based on the role and beliefs of other people put on you. Most people live their whole lives never owning the truth of who they are. They never know or never own the concept of who they are. This is why so many of us make the choices that we do and we repeat them over and over because we play this illusion, we play this role, we have this mask that we never really know or understand who we are. Don't get me wrong, these beliefs, illusions had served you well in the past, but it's brought you to this point right now. And that doesn't mean that it's bad or good. It's just you're here in this place. If you're listening or if you're working with me, it's probably because you want more. You want to thrive and transcend, don't you? If you really thought about that, isn't that why you're trying to manifest your desires? Is because you want to transcend to a higher level? You want to thrive and be fruitful in every aspect of your life? In order to do that, it's so important to own who you really are. In order to shift your paradigm, your reality, you need to own that. You need to own who you really are. You are God. You and God's source energy are one. You are in all, and all is in you. Yeah, I'm talking the one who's listening to this radio station, the one who calls and asks questions. I'm telling you that you are God. Owning this concept, you become unlimited in your possibilities. Owning this concept, you become the master of your reality. Owning this concept, you begin to think and act like God, an ever-expanding source energy. We're going to go to a commercial break, and we're going to talk more about this owning concept. Once again, you're listening to Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maija, and we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. This is Attracting Your Life, and I'm your host, Maija. And once again, you're listening to us on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And before the break, we were talking about the concept of owning that you are God. And owning this concept, you become unlimited in your possibilities. This is a shift, right? And yes, it is a process. It doesn't happen overnight to own this. It takes time to chisel the mask, societal roles, the illusion that you have been programmed to believe. But if you want more, if you want to transcend and shift your current paradigm, humor me. Answer this simple question. Who are you? Now, I want you to respond with these 3 words. Are you ready? I am God. How did that make you feel saying that? Did you feel empowered? Did you feel the possibility expanding in you? How did your body feel when you said those 3 words? Did your posture change? Did you sit up a little taller in your chair when you said those 3 words? Or was it difficult for you to say those revolutionary 3 words? Did they get stuck in your throat? Did you feel like it was blasphemy to attempt to say these words? Did your body retract at the attempt? If that's the case, then you should understand why it's difficult for you to manifest your desires. You don't know who you are. For my Christian and Jewish listeners who struggle with this owning this concept, the Bible and the Torah says in Genesis 1:27, and I'm not trying to make this into a Bible study, but you got to own this. And it's in there. And it says that God created us in his own image and likeness. It's right there in the word. Owning this concept that you are made this way makes you recognize that you are to think and act like God. Source energy, ever expanding with unlimited possibility. Do you get that? Do you own it? Do you feel it in your heart? Because we talked about this, about the mind and the heart when you're manifesting. But do you really own this? Do you feel it in your heart by saying that and knowing that you are God? You are part of God's source energy, and God's source energy is part of you, which makes you part of everything. The tree that's outside, that's moving in the wind, that's part of you. the grass, the wind. That's all you. Let's make this real. The person that just cut you off on the highway, you're part of them and they're part of you. When you think of that and you realize that you are God and all is in you and you are in one, you start viewing things differently. You start accepting and knowing the ability of what you can manifest in your life. You no longer play the victim role. You start realizing that all possibilities are within your reach. Here's a simple real life example of owning your identity. As I've shared in the past, I have 2 boys. And I explained in the beginning of this show that we're in the process of moving. So we have a lot of things packed up, all in boxes. And just this morning, my eldest, who's 9, woke up early. I don't know why he was up so early, but he came into my room and he asked if he could get up and get ready for school. And I said, sure, why not? In fact, I even told him, get dressed and make your own breakfast. Last night, I had left a box of cereal. I figured that would be a quick and easy breakfast for all of us while we're transitioning our new home. When I finally got up and down to the kitchen, I noticed that the toaster was out on the counter. I know I had packed that toaster already. So I had to ask my son, who took this out and where did you find it? His response shocked me, but made me proud all at the same time. He said, I wanted toast. So I had to think like you, since you and I are one, to find the toaster. I went into the living room with all the boxes and I found the box marked kitchen utensils. I knew that it would be in there because I knew that's where my mommy would put the toaster. I know this is a very simple example, you guys, but I was standing there in amazement because my child owns the concept of who he is. He had a desire, and even more, the words he used in his response touched on key concept of oneness. He owns that we are all connected. When you master the universal law of oneness and you understand how to tap into another to co-create your desire, that's amazing. Hopefully, I get to talk about this law and its key in another show. But I must say, I was so proud hearing his response and how he just kind of said it as a matter of fact. Now, don't get me wrong. My son is far from a guru. He's a rambunctious 9-year-old. But he owns his true identity. Both of my boys do. I'm very blessed or humbled that they get it. To be honest, most children own their identity when they first come in and they're able to kind of conceptualize things. They get it. Unfortunately, we adults reprogram them to society roles to give them a mask to wear. So we're going to go on commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about more of this concept and owning it. Once again, I'm your host, Maisha. You're listening to Attracting Your Life, and we're coming to you from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Once again, you're listening to us on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio, and I'm your host, Maisha, and this is Attracting Your Life. And before the commercial break, we were talking more, and I was giving you a simple example of owning who you are. And I'm sure you can find different ways of relating to this. One thing for me that really made it clear is when I read the book by Don Miguel Ruiz, and that's The 4 Agreements. It really talks about the societal illusion and the roles that we play and how we came to take on these beliefs and roles. And in the book, it has 4 agreements, and I'm going to kind of read them to you real quick. The first one is be impeccable with your words. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using words to speak against yourself or gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. That's powerful, right? That's really powerful. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality and their own illusion. When you are immune to the opinions and the actions of others, you won't be a victim of needless suffering. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. How many of us, we take things personally, oh, they said it to me this way, or read emails. I've heard people will say, I read this email and they were insulting in their tone. How does an email have a tone? I mean, unless it's all in caps, I get it. But we really take things personally. And unless a person blatantly comes and tells you, hey, I'm trying to attack you, we really can't interpret it to be personally about us. If you guys have any questions, feel free to call the radio station. The number is 866-451-1451. But let me read the third agreement. It says, don't make assumptions. Oh my gosh. How many times we've heard about that? What happens when you assume things, right? You make a ass out of yourself and the other person, right? In this book, it says, find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clear as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. And that is so true. How many times have you found yourself in drama because of the misunderstanding, lack of communication, people not expressing what they really want and desire? When people find themselves in situations, even with jealousy, it's because that person can express, you know what? I want to be like you. I want to know how you do it, right? It takes a lot for you to expose yourself and tell someone, I don't know. I need help. I had the wonderful pleasure of having a quick bite to eat with a new friend last night. One thing, this guy is brilliant. He's so intelligent. He's gone to so many different schools. He had a rough background, but he has superseded everything, and he's just so intelligent. But I had to express that there were certain things I just didn't know, and I made myself vulnerable to get the information that I needed. And that's what communicating and expressing yourself. There's nothing wrong about being vulnerable and telling a person what you need. If they have a sense of maturity, love, and a sense of who they are, that they're God, people are willing to share that information. They're willing to help. We all have a sense of desire of connecting with one another. I'm telling you, this guy was just awesome. Maybe I might have him on my show. It was just a wonderful dinner. It was wonderful. So the fourth agreement is always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to when you're sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best, and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. So many of us put ourselves in this, box or criteria of what we need to be doing. Just try your best. Just be the best that you can be every day, every moment. And it's going to change. The best that you are last year is not the same best that you're going to be this year or next year. But just own the place that you're at and know and try and achieve your best. This book is phenomenal. If you really want to understand the illusions of society and the roles that we play and the beliefs, this book really helps it. And it really helps you to basically chisel off that mask and to become to know who you are. So here it is. Here's the question I'm going to ask you. Who are you? Ask yourself this question. And then respond with the mantra of concept 1. Feel the empowerment as you state those words. Visualize the transformation in you and your reality as you own these words. Remember, for a mantra to be, to really make a change, you need to use your heart and your brain together. Are you ready? Here we go. I am God. I am in all, and all is in me. I am connected to God's source energy. God's source energy is in me, and I am in God's source energy. Say this mantra. Feel this mantra. Visualize yourself owning your true identity. We're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about this. Once again, you're listening to Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maija, and we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Stay tuned. Hello, welcome back. This is Attracting Your Life, and I'm your host, Maija. And once again, we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And before we went on our break, we were talking about owning and saying the mantra. I hope you wrote it down, but I can say it to you one more time. So this is the mantra that will affect the change in you of knowing about God and knowing who you are to owning who you are and having your true identity. So I hope you have a piece of paper and pen. I'm going to say it to you one more time. The mantra is for you to actually feel it when you're saying it, feel the state of being empowered, visualize the transformation in you and your reality as you say these words. I am God. I am in all, and all is in me. I am connected to God's source energy. God's source energy is in me, and I am in God's source energy. Try to say this mantra at least in the morning 3 times. Just feel it, really feel it. Visualize yourself owning your true identity by saying and owning this mantra. Once you own this concept, you become the master of your universe. You understand that there's nothing impossible for you to co-create because you and God work together. It's not just you and God, it's all things, everything. The whole universe works with you to create. And saying this mantra, then you'll understand also how to create other mantras of things that you want to desire, that you want to create and desire and manifest in your life. I did share with you the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, another book, movie that you can kind of look at. It's actually a movie. It's called The Moses Code. And it's a compilation of many different people who participate in this movie. But when you listen to this movie, the whole thing about this, and you can get it on YouTube. You can pull it up on YouTube. Or if you want to read it, you can read it. It's by James E. And the last name is spelled, let me look at it right now, is Twyman. Twyman. The book is really good. If you're a really good reader, you can highlight it. I love reading books. I like to hold it. I love to highlight and really get into it. But the movie is really good too. And the concept is how to basically create mantras and affirmations. Once you understand that you are God and God's source energy is in you, reading this book will help you create your mantras, because you will understand that you are one with everything. The book explains that in the Bible, when Moses was basically summoned by God, Moses asked, "Who are you?" They're going to ask me, "Who sent me?" They're going to say, "Who sent me? Who told me to go to Egypt to get the people?" And God responded to him, "I am that I am." The book explains that I am that I am is God explaining, I am that, I am. So let me break this down a little bit further. I literally had to walk down the street, and that's one of the exercises that is talked about in this book, is basically walk down the street and look at everything and say, I am that. I am that tree. I am that car. I am that bush. I am. You start to realize how you are connected to everything. I am that little girl jumping rope. I am that little boy riding his bike. I am that. I am. Having that comma after the word that makes you realize that you are in everything, just like God is in everything, because you are part of God and God is part of you. The book is phenomenal. The movie is phenomenal. But understanding, once again, who you are and your identity will make it easier for you to create and manifest your desires. That's why when people work with me, we talk about how they write their affirmations and how to change those affirmations to mantras so you can feel it, so you can own it, and so you can understand that you already are what you're trying to create in your life. You don't have to wait. It's already there. It's already that, because you're part of that. The fact that you had thought of it, it already created. All things start with a thought. It's about owning the thought and knowing that the thought is, which makes it manifest in your life. Let me say that again. All things start with a thought. The fact that the thought has occurred makes it already a reality in your life. You just have to own it. You just have to bring it to the present reality by owning it. Remember what we talked about in the last show is that the heart is the key to manifesting things in your life, because the heart actually creates electronic and magnetic waves, same waves that create the world. So even scientifically, I'm not talking just spiritually, I'm talking even scientifically. It all starts with you feeling and knowing in your heart that whatever you're desiring, it's already there because you thought it first. Now bring the thought and the feelings together. That's when the manifestation happens. That's when you bring it into reality, because you actually emanate the electronic and the magnetic waves, fields to create it here on this realm. I hope I'm not getting too deep. It's just about knowing that as you speak it, that you are creating it because it started with your thought. We're going to talk more about this concept, but we have to go on commercial break. Once again, you're listening to Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maisha, and I'm coming to you live on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Stay tuned. Horse. Welcome back, everyone. This is Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maisha. And once again, we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And before the break, I was telling you how important it is for you to own the reality of who you really are, that you are God, and that the book that I was telling you about, the Moses Code, really talks about how to create your mantras. Oh, we have a caller on the line. Caller? Hello?
Hello. Hello.
Hi. Hi. Who's this?
This is Kim.
Hey, Kim.
Hi,
How you doing?
Martha.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling. What's your question?
You spoke about I am, and I've heard so many different views on it. How does the I am or the I am statement relate to accepting that we are God?
Okay. So that's a very good question. Thank you so much, Kim, for your question. And this is what I was talking about earlier in the show. Kim is one of my wonderful clients, and this is like having a group session, right? Kim, you get to ask questions too, right here, about things that we're talking about on the show. So the I am statement is actually confirming that you are part of all that there is. So when Moses, in the Bible, in the Torah, when Moses asked the burning bush, that God was representing himself in this burning bush, when he asked, who are you? They're going to ask, the Pharaoh's going to say, who told you this? Who are you? He said, I am that, meaning all I am. This is one of the main concepts of the universal law of oneness, understanding that you are God and God is in you. No longer is the barrier that I'm a girl, you're a guy, she's a guy, she's this person, she's that. The name of who you are. I've heard that some people say that it's important for you to say your name, that I am Maisha and I would like to create this or whatever like that. That is more of asking permission, as if you had to identify to someone who's separate from you that you are requesting for this to come into your life. We're switching and shifting this paradigm. With this statement, I am that, I am. You are speaking in authority in co-creating with all that there is in the universe. Even in back Torah into the Bible, in Psalms, the angels even question, who is this creature that you are mindful of him and that you made him a little lower than Elohim, Elohim meaning God. We are co-creators with God. We have the same ability to speak with our words, with our mouth, and make things happen. Let me give you another example. And I hope I don't push anybody away with all these Bible verses and Torah verses, but sometimes you just have to go to basics, right? In Genesis, God said, it's not good for Adam to be alone. I'll make him a helpmate. And so God created creatures and brought it to Adam, and whatever Adam called it, it was. So God made a four-legged creature and brought it to Adam, and Adam said, horse. He made another four-legged creature, and Adam said, cow. And it became that when Adam said it. It's the power of logos, which is the word, and understanding who you are and who you connected. You understand that the I am statement of whatever you're trying to manifest in your life is already part of you because the thought was in you. And the minute that you had the thought and you speak the word, it created. Did I answer your question, Kim?
Yes.
This is a paradigm. This is a shift. We're shifting energy. We're shifting our subconscious thoughts of understanding that we're no longer asking up in the sky for this man who's sitting on the throne to make things possible. We are co-creating with this being, God's source energy. That's why it's so important that I had to go through this concept again of understanding. It's not understanding with just your mind, but feeling with your heart. Once again, concept number 2, it's the mind and the heart. Remember, we learned the heart is about 100 times stronger electrically, sending out electric waves than the human brain, and 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the human brain. So that's why some people say, oh, law of attraction doesn't work, because they were just doing affirmations with their brain. They weren't putting their heart into it. It's something about knowing in your heart who you are, knowing in your heart what you would like to create, and then speaking the words with your mouth logically, that you combined it and you make it to be. It's a shift. It's a paradigm shift. You're moving things differently in your subconscious mind with this and understanding that you are God. God is in you, you are in God. It's different than just saying it. It's knowing it and owning it. Thank you, Kim. That was a really good question. And like I said earlier, once you understand who you are, then you're able to manifest at a faster speed because you understand that you are co-creating with the part of you, God's source energy, and that you are in all and all is in you. That's why that statement and putting that comma after that word, that is so powerful. I am that. I am. I am that new car that I've been wanting. I am that new house that I want. I am all of that. I am. I know this is a shift. And we're going to kind of close this up. We're going to go on our last commercial. This is Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maisha, and we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. This is Maisha, and you're listening to Attracting Your Life. And before the commercial, we were talking again about owning who you are. And I want to really emphasize the fact is how this concept works. Let's just kind of go through it real quick. Our brain creates the image of what we would like to see, what we think we want to experience in our life. Lock that image in your brain. Then with your heart, start feeling as if it's already done. With your mouth, use the power of logos, your word. Logos means the word. It's not coincident that logos that people use, like, the logo, if I said Crest, you would think of a logo. If I were to say Lexus, you would think of their logo. It's the power of the image, their symbol. It's the same thing. Have that symbol of what you want to create in your mind. Feel it with your heart and state it with your words. That's what makes a mantra versus an affirmation. The mind, the heart, and your mouth coming together with your words, the logos, and state, I am that. What is that you want to create? And finish it by saying, I am. You're confirming it with the I am, because you know that you are God, source energy. God, source energy is in you. You are in him, and you co-create together. So it's not blasphemy to feel this way. It's empowering. It's shifting the paradigm of your subconscious mind, of old beliefs, old ways of thinking that just no longer serve you. You're ready for more, and it's your time. It's your time to kick it up a notch, to understand who you are. Chisel off those old beliefs, those old masks that society and roles that they have given you that just no longer serve you. And empower yourself of who you really are. Once you understand and own, it's really not even about the understanding, because you already knew this, right? It's about once you own who you are with no shame, without being apologetic. Throw your shoulders back and state who you are. Own the mantra that we talked about earlier. Let me say it to you again. Get a piece of paper and pen. Are you ready? Here we go. I am God. I am in all, and all is in me. I am connected to God's source energy. God's source energy is in me, and I am in God's source energy. Say this mantra. Feel this mantra. Visualize yourself owning your true identity. Once you own this concept, you have become the master of your universe. There is nothing that is impossible for you to co-create with God's source energy once you own it. I know this is a shift. I know this is a big unraveling. This is an revealing of things and concepts that doesn't feel comfortable. So I invite you, go on my website, post a question to me. I'm open to asking or answering any questions you may have. And if you feel like you're ready to create on a different level, you're ready to shift that paradigm, let's work together. We have different packages, 12 months, 6 months, even 3 months. Reach out. It's your time to become the master of your universe. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk next week.